And I get to talk about one of my passions today. I am extremely passionate about making a difference in our children's lives. It takes each and every one of us in this room, every single one of us, to be able to impact others so that they can grow and be young, confident adults that can be contributing members of our society and hopefully future Kiwanis members. So first and foremost, and I know this is going to be very action-packed. I'm not one that stands behind a podium. I like to move around, so if you cannot hear me, just raise your hand, and I'll be glad to project further. So be true to yourselves. Never compromise your values, morals, for anyone or anything, including money. That is a core value that I have lived by my entire life. My parents instilled it in me. My grandparents instilled it in me. And be positive. Make sure you're a positive role model for others to emulate. So I want to tell you a little bit more about my story. Jeff did a fabulous introduction. Thank you so much. That's great. I was a top executive. I was top of my game at a Fortune, let's just say within Fortune 10 company, and doing fabulous. Then I had a car accident. God has a funny way of waking you up, smacking you right between the eyes, and saying, hey, you don't have your priorities straight. After my car accident, 36 hours later, I could not walk, I could not talk, I could not see, and the whole world spun around. Most people do not know this unless they were involved in my inner circle. They have no idea what I went through to be able to rehabilitate myself. The professional said I would never, ever be able to walk again or be and do what I had done again, if ever, but within 2 years. Within 3 months, I was back on the job. Okay? But what I realized was I got back. I could still do it. I thank the Lord above that I was able to recover. And so what did that do for me? I had to reevaluate my life. I was a single mom at the time, raising 2 children. My daughter was in high school, and my son was in middle school, just entering middle school. When the accident happened, my son moved in with my daughter, my parents. My daughter stayed home with our dog who was dying of cancer, and my fiance moved me into his house, and he helped me. My fiance, who's now my husband, moved me into his home, took care of me, and took me to all my appointments. I recovered and realized, you know what? Never compromise your morals, your values for anyone or anything, including money. And people would always ask me, when it comes down to money, Dawn, would you really sacrifice that? Oh, yes, I did. I had a very nice paying salary in a corporate position with a Fortune 10 company. But it was not worth having somebody else raise my children and me not being there as their mother. So I left that job, single, nothing else to fall back on but my savings, which was fine, because it did not align with my morals and values anymore. How many people would do that? It's scary. At that point in time, I decided to start my company called Coach Pro for You, so that I could give back to the community, do the things that I love to do, and all the different events and organizations I was involved in that I wasn't able to do while I was flying all over the country, training these top leaders, coaching this one, and what have you. And for what? So that my parents could raise my children? Trading time for money. So I started Coach Pro for You so I could give back and do the parts of HR that I love, that is nearest and dearest to my heart, for individuals such as yourselves, leaders in our communities, to be the best that you can be. And also to be able to volunteer and help shape the lives of our children. So my passion, I get to live out now, which is fabulous. And that is really to help people and individuals weed through all their demands
so that they can be the best that they can be for themselves, their families, and their communities, and most importantly, our youth. So what I'm going to talk about today is really about how are we going to instill confidence in our youth? What does bullying have to do with that? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But along my journey in being true to myself, I had to learn to say no when I started out my journey with Coach Pro for You. As I would talk to business leaders about consulting and business coaching and what have you, they weren't interested in that. They wanted to hire me, not as their coach, but as an employee. No, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Yeah, we'll pay you this. I've turned down very large amounts of money, but that's not what I intended to do. That's not what my purpose is. I prayed one night, and I'm like, Lord, please shut all the doors I am not meant to walk through and open the ones I'm meant to walk through. So, with that, the next morning, 9:45 a.m., I got a telephone call from iHeartRadio, and they asked me if I would co-sponsor the Girls World Expo. That organization focuses on young girls from 9 to about 18 and instilling good values and morals and what have you. I'm like, absolutely, what do I need to do? So I met with them and what have you. Long story short, we'll fast forward. During that meeting, they asked me if I would write a book for our young women, our young girls. And that's where the Young Women's Guide to Success, Coloring Your Canvas of Life, came from. So I wrote this book, and it's really a workbook for our girls, our young girls, and it can be used for men too. It's basic concepts to help guide them through their walk. 2 days after that event, I already had a trip planned to Costa Rica with my husband for his business. While I was there, it turned into a book signing. So this is me at the table, at the booth, and it just went, my world has exploded from that. So, my message to you all is to be the best that you can be. And with that, we want our children to be the best that they can be, right? Absolutely. So children struggle. They struggle with popularity and acceptance. I don't know about you all in this room, but I am so glad that I did not grow up in the age where technology and social media was in place. Wow. The things that our kids are exposed to at such speeds, drugs, alcohol, sex, etc., all that stuff. You know, and I preach them when I talk to kids, and I talk to churches and youth ministries and what have you. I talk to them. Everybody says that they're doing it, but guess what? The truth is, people really, not everybody's doing it. They need to have good, solid footing and grounds, and that's what we, as parents, leaders, and mentors of our communities, we need to instill in our children. They need to be able to stay true to themselves. So that brings me to bullying first. Bullying is an epidemic. Who in here would agree? Absolutely. We see it all the time. In school, out of school, in the workplace. I've seen it in all three. It has pushed people to suicide. This has to stop. And the only way to stop that is by bringing awareness to our children and instilling confidence in them. Before I move on, I do want to share one thing about bullying, pushing people to suicide. When my daughter was in high school, you know, as you grow up, and she grew up in Forsyth County, you grow up with all these same kids. And as they get older, they go separate ways because one goes with this group, another goes with this group, what have you. By her junior year in high school, 6 girls that she started out with from kindergarten to first grade, 6 attempted suicide due to bullying. 5 were successful. The 6th one, unsuccessful, paralyzed from the neck down. That's an epidemic, folks. And it still is happening today. That was all within one school. And I can give you example after example after example from then on of what's happened. So we owe it to ourselves and our youth and our community to build the confidence in our youth. Make them aware and let them know. Never compromise your morals or values for anyone or anything, including money. So, a couple examples. Every child is beautiful in their own own unique way. There's a few examples that I came about that I wanted to share with you. One was very disturbing to me. Some of you may have seen it on Facebook. It was of a beautiful redhead boy, 3 years old, freckles all over his face, and he went to preschool, I guess, and everybody was calling him ugly. And a 13-year-old boy was talking to one of their other friends, telling them, if I had a ginger-haired child, I would kill it. Wow. This child was 3 years old. What do you think that did to that child's esteem? Not good. This young man here, his name is Gage. This was also on Facebook. 6 years old, bullied, taunted because he had big floppy ears. His parents were devastated, as any parent would be, right? Your child's being bullied. Their self-esteem is going down. People are wondering, they're making fun of him. His parents did something very extreme. Between his parents, Kaylee and Tim, engaged, they made a decision to have plastic surgery and have his ears pinned back. That's drastic. Okay, these are just two examples, folks. So, don't be a bully. This is a chapter in my book, and these are some of the quotes in there, but basically the bottom line is, we want to make sure that we're always positive examples for others to emulate. We want to treat people the way that we want to be treated. We should not be a bully. And if we see somebody bullying somebody else, I don't care if it's a child, I don't care if it's an adult, I don't care who it is. We need to step in and stand up for the person that's being bullied. Because we would not want that happening to us, right? So stick up for others. The bottom line, with bullies, they lack self-confidence, they lack self-respect, and self-esteem. So, question for the audience. How can we build confidence in our youth? How can we do it?
Give them responsibilities that they can follow through with doing a job, or whether it's, start with a small job.
Very good. Yes.
Build their confidence that way by being successful in something.
Very good. Build their confidence by giving them little jobs and tasks that they can do. What else? One more example. Who will give me one more example on how to build confidence in our youth?
Be a positive role model.
Very good. Thank you, back there. Be a positive role model. Here's a couple of them that I'm going to talk about. Love your child. Give them praise where praise is due. It starts at home. We need to provide unconditional love for our children. If we don't provide unconditional love for our children and they don't feel loved by their parents at home, how will they know how to treat and love somebody else? Open communication. Again, that starts at home. Having family dinners at the table. Making your children feel like they're important. And when you have a conversation, put the phones down. Be fully in the present. Look them straight in the eye. Right, Jack? We look straight in the eye and have a conversation with them. Be genuinely concerned with what they're talking about. Help them set realistic goals. I broke down goal setting in my book also. I created a worksheet on how you can set goals for youth in there. It's a worksheet that you fill out. So just setting realistic goals. It's one thing to say, okay, to your first grader, you're going to go to school, get a good education, go to college, get a good job. How do they do it? That's an unrealistic goal. We need to break it down for them and let them know how to do that. Model self-love and positive self-talk. If we get a promotion at work, let's talk about it at the dinner table. Yay, I got a promotion and I did it by doing A, B, C. Make time for play. Sit down and play with your children. And when you're playing with them, down on the floor, I know I'm doing it still with my grandkids, down on the floor playing one-on-one with them, be fully present in the moment. If you're thinking about something else, they know it. Don't disrespect them like that. They know it. If you're going to spend time with them, be fully present in the moment. We all have stuff going on in our heads. We need to take whatever it is, compartmentalize it up here, and focus on that moment in time. Teach responsibility and independence.
Okay, give them those little jobs so that they can learn independence and know that they've done a good job when they've done a good job. We've already talked about giving them their full attention. Encourage sports and physical activities. That helps them learn how to practice, build their skills, fail, improve those skills, and then be successful at it. And they're going to find that some things that they're not so good at, but that's okay. They tried. As long as they gave 100%, then they're good. Support their pursuit of whatever their passion is. So be genuinely concerned with that. Set rules and be consistent. Children love boundaries. If we don't provide boundaries to our kids, how in the world are they going to be able to go out into the real world and have rules and procedures and policies at a job? And then provide encouragement. Encourage them. If they do something wrong, or if they didn't do a very good job at something, don't tell them they did a great job. I see that you tried the best that you did. I appreciate that. And confidence, if we instill confidence in our children, it's going to enable them to face new challenges without fear. So, another thing is providing positive affirmations. You want to always be true to yourself. And by saying some of these things, you are beautiful. You are loved. You are worthy. Know your self-worth. You are priceless. And if ever you're feeling low or down, look yourself in the mirror and say those things. And believe me, I walk this talk on a daily basis. Build solid, healthy relationships with your parents, friends, for children, with boyfriends, girlfriends, depending on their age. We need to make sure that they build those solid, healthy relationships and have self-respect for themselves, their bodies, tasteful dress, etc., what have you. Now, I mentioned just a minute ago that I live and breathe this every day. If you build solid, healthy relationships with your children, it doesn't matter what their age is. When something's going wrong, they're going to pick up the phone and call you. So I want to share with you how my morning started today. 7:50 a.m. One of my adult children, I get a phone call because it was kind of like a bullying situation and wasn't sure how to deal with it. We've got hurt feelings, we've got all kinds of things going on, a very bad situation. And if I didn't have a healthy relationship with that adult child, do you think they would call me at 7:50 in the morning to discuss it? No. And what I did is I walked them right through everything. Positive affirmations, you know what, you are good at what you do. You are worthy. You know exactly what you're doing. Do not allow anybody to make you feel that way. You dig deep down into your soul, you pull yourself up, pull those bootstraps up, and you speak these positive affirmations out loud. And I went through several of those. And I had that adult child say those out loud on the phone. About 45 minutes to an hour later, we're good. Everything's fine. Moving on with the day. So it does happen. Bullying still happens. Doesn't matter your age. And give yourself a break. We all put so much pressure on ourselves in work, in our personal lives. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect. Take a breath, relax. Just do the best that you can do. And if your best isn't good enough for somebody, well, that's their problem. That's not your problem. So when you get stressed and are overwhelmed, where do you go? Where is your happy place? Somebody share with me your happy place. Just one person. Yes?
My patio with a glass of wine and a cigar.
Oh, okay. You're singing my husband's song. Out back with a glass of wine or scotch and a cigar. Okay. Carolyn, where's your happy place?
Always at the beach.
At the beach.
At the beach, yes.
At the beach. This right here is my happy place. This is Holden Beach, North Carolina. This is my front yard. I love it. It's also the cover of my book because that is my happy place. So when I get overwhelmed, mentally, I go to my happy place. You don't have to physically go there. Just use the art of visualization. This is your life, folks, and it's also the lives of our youth. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. We want to live your life to the fullest. Be the best that you could be. Seize each day and every opportunity, because you know what? Today is priceless. What if we're gone tomorrow? Did that little issue that my adult child had to deal with this morning, is that important? Is it going to matter 5 years from now? No, it's not. It doesn't matter. Yes, there's going to be failures. There's going to be hard times. People are going to say things against us. It's just a little moment in time. So people are going to discourage us, disappoint us, etc. Don't obsess over it. Don't obsess over the past. You are good and doing well and on your way to a great life as long as you learn some of these key things and you never give up. So important. Never give up. This is your life. Every day is a new day. How will you choose to live it? I'm going to leave you with one parting question. How will you impact others today? Who will you impact today? Thank you so much for your time and attention today in the honor of being your presenter. Thank you.